So I figured as I go through these paints and do different things with logos and whatnot, I record those little bits and then maybe I'll put them together for a little tutorial or something. And this is going to be the first one, so it might be something different after. Again, if you have trouble understanding me, first minute, first video, I'll tell you why. It's no big deal, but sorry about that. So we want this Safety Queen logo, and I've already looked, and I couldn't find one that's got that black line like you see there, just by itself. So we have to we're gonna have to do that logo a little work to get one the way we want, just like that. So what you do is you go to Google Images, Safety Queen logo. Oops. Still a little bit under the weather. Sorry about that. Oh my god. Wow. Alright. So we want a PNG one, so we'll select one from up here, and we want one with this black line on it. Let's look at this one. Right click, save image as, and I already have one. I'll do it again, and we'll use that image I just grabbed. So again, what we're trying to do is get it just like this logo here, with a white background behind that, in addition to that black line. So let's minimize this, open our folder, open the one we just downloaded. Sorry about this, I usually run 3 screens and it doesn't work well when you're trying to do a video. So I have to bring it down to 1. So if you use this fuzzy select tool over on the left, you'll see options down here. For all tools, there's options. This one's the threshold, and it usually starts way down low. And what this does, if you highlight these two, they'll usually tell you what they are, and gives you the shortcut. But what this will do is it'll select where I make my selection. It'll grab everything up to that border. So if we click in here, you can see how it's not real close to that black line in different areas because the threshold on the left over here is so low. So let's up the threshold, and you can go too far if there's colors are close with no border between them. So we up the threshold. Now we'll click in here, and now you can see how much tighter those dots are. Maybe a little too tight even. We could probably back it off. Now, if we hit delete, it turns to your background color over here on the left, the bottom of your background color. It does this because there's no alpha layer. So let's hit Control Z to back it up 1. Click on your layer on the right, right click on it, you right click, and go down to Add Alpha Channel. Now, when we delete, hit the delete button, you end up with your alpha channel behind it. So Shift A to deselect, always deselect before doing something different. We're going to duplicate this layer a few times. Probably won't need to, we'll get rid of this one. Actually, we didn't. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer under the one we only have one showing right now, which is this top one. Don't worry about these other two. We're going to create a new layer under the top one. And if you create it above it, you can still drag it down. But so under it, right click somewhere in your layers, go to new layer, and just hit OK. It'll give you whatever the default layer is you're using. Now let's go, now we have a blank layer underneath behind the sticker. The same size here. So let's go back to we want a white outline that goes around this black. So right click on, but go back to the top layer, your top layer, right click, go alpha to selection, and now you see these dancing ants, just like we had before. Then click on the blank layer below it. Go up to where it says select at the top left. Click on it, go down to grow. And this is going to be probably, I want the same distance away from the line as this white part is. So let's try 12. That's not going to be enough. Let's Control Z, select. Control Z just undoes your last. And there's a limit on how many undones you can do, but if you go to Edit and Preferences, you can change that. Grow. Let's try 16. Alright, now we're in the blank layer. Let's right click in here, go to Edit, and you'll get your swatch colors right here without having to change tools. And we'll go to Fill with foreground color. That's not too bad. The only problem is the white, the real white, is brighter than what you see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control Z to back up. We're going to click on our white swatch and we're going to change it to this one here. If there's a selection and you click outside of it, you get screwed up. So make sure you're clicking inside if there is a selection. Then here, you grab your eyedropper, click it once, and then we're just going to click on Safety Queen's white. And it's going to change that swatch. Maybe. Let's try it again. Oh. You gotta click on the layer you're grabbing the color from. Looks like it's the same color. Huh. Maybe it just looked darker. Yeah, alright. Well, I guess that'll work. Probably just my bad eye playing with me. The only other problem is up here. We want this to come to a point. So we can do it on this layer, or we can create a new layer. We'll probably create a new layer. It's always easier that way. And then you can merge it down if you want. Grab your pass tool. Draw a line from here. And just follow that. And then back down and try to follow this one. It's probably pretty close. Then just hit enter. And then same thing, right click, edit, fill with foreground color. And then we'll hold control and mouse wheel back and forward to your default zooms. Looks pretty good. So then you just depending on how you want to do it, you can merge all your layers together. If you flatten it, you're going to lose your, let's see. I think if you flatten your image, you lose your alpha layer, yeah. So if you flatten and go add alpha channel, then you can go here like this, hit delete. Then you're fine. Oh, and then this spot down here if you wanted. Then you can just save that or drag it right into your template and then size it in there. Then you always have a clean copy, and then just duplicate it to use it for where you need it. Alright, we'll try some more later. Thanks. So what we're after in this video is another logo that I have to do some work to. So I thought I would just walk through the process how I would do it. Again, there's better ways, I'm sure. But it's going to be this logo right here. Merit Pro. And I want to thank James and Peter and everybody that helped in that thread to find these, because they were really driving me crazy. And the only one that I could find, this was the best one I could find, and that's the correct size for that. So, you know, what you could do is try to get rid of everything that's white. And you can do that with this fuzzy wand, and if you up your threshold here, you know, if it's real low, your threshold's real low, see what happens, it leaves a bunch of white. It doesn't go up against the lines very well. If your threshold's in the middle somewhere, and you click on white, it does, and it's not too terrible. And then you just hit delete. But I think this has no alpha background, so it'll go to my background color. So if I switch this, make black my background color, putting it in the back does that. If I hit delete, and it goes black, that means there's no alpha layer. Or you can just right click over here, add alpha channel. So we'll back out of that, right click, add alpha channel. Now we'll hit delete, and it gets rid of it all. And then you just click on these other white parts. But you can play with the threshold to see how close you can get it on something like this. And that's really going to determine whether you're going to rebuild it or not. It was tough to get close and make this still clean. I mean, that doesn't look good at all. So we're going to actually enlarge this, trace it, basically recreate this logo, and we're going to do it the way I would do it. And again, there's going to be better ways, faster ways, but I just wanted to share these steps with you guys. So the first thing you're going to want to do is increase your canvas size, then we'll increase the whole image. And then we'll add a new layer, and we'll use the pass tool to redraw this. And some of it I did to save us time, but I'll walk you through the process just briefly here. So you go to Image, Canvas Size. This is going to be around that. You click on this aspect ratio link, and then we'll just raise it about that far. And if you come down here, you can move this wherever you want in the center of the canvas, or if you hit the center button, it'll move it to the center. Then click down here for all layers, and then click resize. Now it's black because it went to the background color because we don't have an alpha layer. So let's hit Control Z to back out, right click on that layer, add alpha channel. Now when we increase the canvas size, it'll leave it transparent because it has an alpha layer. And then what you would do is you'd go new layer, okay, you'd drop it down, fill it with white, then merge the layers, right? So we right click, edit, fill, and then right click on the top one, and then merge down. Or a quicker way to do it is to back up to where you were at, get rid of, we don't want, remove alpha channel, make sure your background image is white. Without an alpha channel, it'll fill out the canvas, whatever your background image is. Make sure it's white because this is white. Image, scale, canvas size. Click on the aspect ratio. Just go up a ways. Just hit center. All layers, resize, and now it's all just one image because it filled it with white. And that's fine, that's what we wanted. Now we want to increase the size of the image itself. Right now, viewing it at 100%, that's all the bigger that thing is. And we're going to make it bigger so when we create our own, we have a nice big clean version of it. So, image, scale image, and then let's just take this up to 1,000 pixels. Hit scale. Now we have a big image that we can work with. Right click on your base logo, and then go to new layer. Sorry, it's late. And then we're going to grab our pass tool. We're going to cut all this out, which I've done ahead of time, but I'm going to walk you through some of it just so you know what I did. And then we're going to separate this outer design from the Merit Pro. But we're going to do the outer design first, and then we'll try a font to see if we can get something close to the Merit Pro. If not, we'll have to do the same thing with it. But I think I found the font that works. So you click on that layer, you click on your pass tool, and then zoom in just a little, and then just start dropping your nodes like this. If you hold Shift, it'll start a set of new nodes. So it doesn't continue from the last one. So you can do this all the way around. And we're just laying them out right now. Hold Shift, start a new one. You can let go of Shift after you start it. Hold Shift, click, let go. And then you go all the way around like that, just dropping these nodes off. Then you come back. This is what I would do. This is what I have done. Come back, you zoom in, Control plus mouse wheel forward, and then you move your dot. Then you just move your dots where you need them. It doesn't take as long as it might look either. And I'm exceptionally slow, so. And then just go around and do all that. And I've already got that done, so let's find it. Alright, it's this one. So, if you have, once you've done something like that, hit enter, it creates a path. And you can add a path channel here so you can look at your paths by going to Windows, and then dockable dialogues, stuff like that. You'll see paths here, and you can drag that tab up here. But we're going to click on it, we're going to go back, we're going to grab our pen tool, we're going to actually have to go back. Click anywhere in this, go back to paths, click on the bottom one that you had made that path with, and you'll see all these nodes come back. And I already have my new layer up here, it's just a blank layer. So what we do is after you've done all that, just hit enter. You won't see these red lines unless you play with the pass tool. I was just showing you how to get the nodes back if you lose it. But you hit enter, click on the window here somewhere. Click on the eyeball to make it visible. Make sure you're on your right layer, hit enter. And you'll see how that's all selected. Now we're just going to fill it with a black color. Because then we can change the color later. We just want to get it filled and saved so we don't have to worry about losing it. So just right click, edit, and choose one of the two colors that's over here on the side. And if you change that, your options in here change. So we'll just fill it with black for now. Oh, make sure the eyeball's on so you see it. Now we don't have to worry about losing these dots because alpha to selection will give us these selections again. So we'll grab a different tool, Control Shift A, and then I'll make the pass invisible, which will probably never be visible for you guys unless you play with it. And so that's what that ended up looking like. So we have that part. We want to keep it separate from the Merit Pro. So we'll create a separate layer for the Merit Pro wording. So right click up here somewhere, new layer, OK. And now we'll just grab a font. Start with whatever it gives you. This is what I would do, and this is what I did do. We're going to put it up here somewhere. This is over the top of these other two layers, so you'll be able to compare your words. And you just type in with cap locks, it's all capital it looks like, Merit. And then we could hit, we really don't need the Pro, but we'll put it up here anyway. We'll probably leave the Pro off for now. And then go to hinting full for your anti-analyzing, and then just scale up until it's big enough that you can compare it with what you have. Sorry about that, I had to stop the video for a minute. So now what we want to do is, we're going to duplicate this because, oh no, we're not going to duplicate it. We're going to go through and find out if we have a font that is something close to this. So you always make sure you click on your text over here and then back into the window to change it. And then just over here on the left where it says text, just scroll through it until you get something that looks close. And I thought I found something earlier, which might have been serif. It's either that one or that one. I think it's that one. So let's back out a little bit. Let's try this one. Let's duplicate it. Right click, duplicate. And then what we want to do is make this an image so we can make the adjustments to it, to its size. Or what we should do is actually adjust the whole thing in this mode to its size. It's going to be better that way. We'll still have to make an adjustment later because I think it looks like it's stretched after it gets to its height. So just go up, and then you can just move this up, see how close you are. Looks like we're a little too tall. Maybe a couple more down. think that's going to be good for now. And you can see, even though it looks almost identical to the font they used, you can see how it doesn't finish off. We'll adjust the opaquency here a little bit. See how it doesn't come to the end? So what we're going to do is stretch it. And that'll even, that should get it pretty close. It's actually further away from the T than, maybe we can do this instead. If you click on just this, I think there's a way to adjust the spacing between those two, just those two letters. Click on both those. Yeah, this one. So let's just get these down where they belong. Same thing here. Whoop. Piss. We will do them all together, I guess. Anything after that. We'll just start with the R. We should probably do the E. Let's start with the E. I think it'll be anything after it. Yeah. Get the E where we want. R where we want. I's pretty close. Probably there. And then we'll just go backwards on the T. Right? Is that how it's going to work? Yep. Perfect. Alright. So there's that. Now we just need to do the Pro. So we duplicated this so that we have it. We can just change the word to Pro. So let's duplicate it again so we still have a good clean one here. Click on here. Make this Pro. Drag the bottom box down first because of how bad they make it adjusting these things. I forgot the size. I should have looked. Was it 220? I think it was 220. Or 218. 218, I think. Let's see. No, we didn't do it before. We did it after we resized. I think it's this. Yeah, that looks about right. And we'll just back the P up a little bit forward. And then maybe we need to move the O. I think we're good. Okay, so now we have essentially what we need. We'll combine these two layers. Right click and go down to merge down. Now it's an image instead of words, but we still have the original. We should make this the original size too, just so that we don't forget it. 218. There we go. And just click that, shut that off. And then save this as you work through it into your paint scheme logo for that paint. Logos and references, and we'll just call it My Merit. Save. So now, you can see how big this image is. That's at 100%. And the original image, if you view it at 100%, we'll just back off of this till we get to the original one. That's how big that is at 100%. So, zoom to one, we went from that to this, and we'll, it's pretty clean. Now we just need to give it a border, so to speak, or a shadow. And it's probably all the same movement and everything on all the pieces, but we'll do them separate. So you just click in the layer that you want the shadow for over here. Go to Filters, Lights and Shadows, Drop Shadow. A couple of these settings are a little bit strange for some people, but this is how far off the shadow is. So it's 4 pixels over and 4 pixels down from the original image. And you can set these -4, 4, whatever. You can make them 0, which means it would all be right behind it, which is fine. Or leave it 4, 4. Your blur radius is the blur at the very edge of the shadow. Um, and typically you want to leave this pretty low for something like this. Maybe nothing at all. We'd have to look at the original image again. Let's see. So yeah, I think there's maybe a little bit of blur there. Let's get rid of this one. So maybe a little blur, and then the opaquency will go up to 100%. And now it's going to create a black shadow, which again is going to be fine for our purposes, except for our colors black. Let's change our colors first on the outside one. Sorry about this. Again, I'm kind of going through this with you the first time from here on out. Which was this one, right? Yeah. Yeah, let's change the colors. So, to do this, instead of, there's a couple ways you can go. What I like to do, you can either go to colorize and then try to match it up with the sliders, or you can right click, create a new layer, go back down to the layer you're working on, and I'll make everything else invisible so you can see the layer we're working with. This is the layer we have chosen right now on the right. The new layer is right above it. We'll put the eyeball on that. That's blank. So click on the layer you're working with, right click, alpha to selection, then go up to your blank layer, and we'll just fill that with the new color. And then we can get rid of this one or just make it invisible. But we still have to get the new color. So to do that, Control Shift A, deselect. We'll pick just the original image. We'll click here. Click this little eyedropper. Just click the color you want. We want that color. Okay. And black will be the opposite color for all of these. So now we have the right color. Again, go down to this layer. Right click, alpha to selection. We'll make this invisible. That's the one we have selected. We're going to go up to our blank layer. Click on it. Right click in here. Edit. Fill with foreground color. Now we can make the one below it disappear. Hit Control Shift A. Now we have the original color for the original logo. See? On that. And the lettering is black, so we're good there. Now we just need a black border for this one. And whatever colored tan taupe that is for this one. So let's set up our black color now because we're going to need it. I don't know if it matters which one's foreground or background for our purposes, but we have the Merit Pro. Let's do the logo. Let's do the shadow for this one. So filter, lights and shadows, drop shadow. This really doesn't matter. 100%, a little blur radius, okay, and it'll put that shadow below it. So that's already pretty close, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute. That's the original. Looks like there's a... Man, that's hard to say. Maybe one or two over. Maybe one down. It's pretty close, so... Oop. Click on the drop shadow, because that's what we're moving. Oop. Sorry about that. Just click on the layer. And then you can move them with your move buttons, too, for finding movement. So you just click in here after you got the right layer, and then just use your arrows. So you get what you want. not far over, maybe 2 out and 4 down total. Maybe down. Like that? Does that look right? You know what? We just need to duplicate this so we can look at them together. Drop these two off. Control D duplicates your current window. So here's theirs. Here's ours. That looks pretty close to me. Maybe up one more on the shadow. Yep, we'll call that good. Right? Oh no, it needs a little bit more. And it needs to go out a little bit. We'll call that good. Something in there, yeah. Now we just need to do it for the Merit Pro. But it needs to be the other color, right? So let's click on your Merit Pro filters. If you go re-show drop shadow, it'll give you the options that you had before. If you go repeat drop shadow, it'll do the exact same thing. So re-show drop shadows. Sometimes it just comes up down here. And the only difference is we want it to be this color. Hold on a sec. Let's just make that foreground because that's what it grabs. Okay. And okay. So now we'll grab that drop shadow and move it to where we need to. You can actually, this really isn't a drop shadow. This is more of a bevel work, but for our purposes, we're just making it a drop shadow. That's pretty close, right? It looks a little bit thicker, so let's double it up actually. Right click, duplicate layer, and then it looks like it needs to go down a little bit. Or not. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Let's drop them both down. Drop that one down. We'll probably just leave it like that. So now we have our Merit Pro. And again, there's other ways to save this. You can flatten it and then out to alpha channel, and it's all real nice and big and clean, and we can use it. But for me, I needed to make it look like this. Again, that's different than what we're seeing here. But before something happens, we better save this. Save that, and then that's pretty much. So it's dark white, and then the whole thing's got another layer of dark around it. And then this is light dark with an extra layer of dark around it. So what we're going to do is, now that we have it saved, we're not going to use our drop shadows. We don't need them. Not for this, the way they have it. Let me look again. White and then black. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this Pro one up here. We're going to change the color to white. So hit colorize. Or colors, colorize. And then you want it, since it's black, you gotta move this up to 50% to get the color to show it all. But since we were on the white, let's just move it all the way forward. Now we're going to create a new layer, hit enter. Right click on our Merit Pro, alpha to selection, go up to the new layer. We're going to shrink it down and then put our black in. So select, shrink. Hard saying with is 4 going to be enough? Maybe too much. It's going to have to be. Let's try 4. So let's right click. We're still in our blank layer above it. Right click, edit, fill with foreground color, and then Control Shift A to deselect. Oh, that's too big. It's gotta come down another notch. So Control Z, let's back up. Let's go back up. Select, shrink. Let's try 5. Right click, edit, fill. That's better. What we'll do is we'll duplicate this white layer. It'll give it more of a whiter background. We need more white. I think what we'll do is right click, alpha to selection. Let's grow the white by, let's say 2 pixels. Okay. And then we'll just do it right in this layer. Right click, edit. Oop, we need white. Right click, edit. Fill with foreground color. Control Shift A. Oh, yeah, that looks a lot better. And that's going to need a black outline even after that. But so is this. So separate's going to be different. So let's just give this one a black outline too. So new layer, right click, new layer. Hit enter, we'll move it below all the other layers we're using. Then right click on your outer right one, which I think is this top one. Yeah. You can even get rid of that bottom one. Right click, alpha to selection, go back to your new layer which is in the back. Select, grow. Should be more than that. Maybe 4. No, it should be more than that. Maybe 8. We'll just add to it. Then right click, edit, fill with your black. Control Shift A to deselect. That's not the worst. So black, white, yeah. Yep. And now, what we need for the outside one is to make it white with the black border. So, right click, new layer, okay. Then go back down to the one that you're changing the color of. Actually, what we should have done, I'll show you a better way to do this. Actually, let me back up. Right click and duplicate. Hit the eyeball on the one you just duplicated down below, and then on the one above it, click it, go to colors, colorize, white. And then we're just going to give it a background of black, right? Yeah. So, right click, new layer, and this is going to be the background. So we'll put it below it. Then go back to it, the white one. Right click, alpha to selection. Click on your blank layer below it. Select, grow, and I think it's going to need to be at least 8. Probably 10. Let's try 10. I think 10's going to work pretty good. And then since we're on the layer below the white one, right click, edit, fill with background color, Control Shift A to deselect. Yeah, that's not too bad. It probably needs a little bit more black. We could even add to this one. Right click, alpha to selection, select, grow. We'll grow it by 2 more. Right click, edit, fill with foreground color, Control Shift A. Yeah, you know, not too bad. In this image, that thing's slanted to, you know, we're looking from the front of the truck towards the back, so the perspective's a little bit off. It's, and you gotta keep that in mind, but is that right? Did I do that right? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so that's how I would do it. And now you can just, you know, if you wanted to just take exactly what you see, just grab your rectangle tool or whatever, and then drag it over this. And then if you right click, go to image, go to wait a minute, edit, copy visible. And then if you paste it from your clipboard, which you just save that copy to, paste as new layer, or you can just hit Control Shift V, and now you have it just as that. And then you can right click, off to selection, right click in here, go down to layer, crop to selection, Control Shift A. Then you could actually drag it right from here right onto your template, and then make your adjustments from there. So that's all I have for this one. I'm sorry it took longer than I wanted it to. But again, I was walking through the process, my thought process, and you just kind of explained it as I went. So thanks for watching, you guys. I'll try to have something else later. Thank you.